The halo effect. Why first impressions can fool you. Have you ever met someone attractive, charming, or well-dressed and immediately assumed they were smart, kind, or successful? Or maybe you were instantly drawn to a charismatic speaker and found yourself agreeing with them before you even heard all the facts. If so, you've experienced something psychologists call the halo effect, a powerful mental shortcut that influences how we judge people, often without us even realizing it. In this article, we'll explore what the halo effect is, why it happens, how it affects your everyday decisions, and how you can protect yourself from being misled by it. By the end, you'll have a deeper understanding of how your mind works and how to make more balanced, rational judgments. What is the halo effect? The halo effect is a type of cognitive bias where our overall impression of a person influences how we feel and think about their character. In simple terms, when someone makes a good first impression, we tend to assume they are good in other areas too, even without evidence. This mental shortcut was first described by psychologist Edward Thorndike in 1920. In his experiments, military commanders were asked to evaluate their soldiers. Thorndike found that if a soldier was seen as physically attractive or neat, they were also rated higher in intelligence, leadership, and loyalty. Even though these traits weren't directly related, the positive impression in one area spilled over into others. Real-life examples of the halo effect. You don't have to be a psychologist to spot the halo effect in the real world. It shows up everywhere. Job interviews. Candidates who look confident and put together may be perceived as more competent, even if others are equally or more qualified. Celebrity culture. We often assume actors or influencers are experts on social issues, business, or health just because they are famous. Dating. Someone who is physically attractive may be assumed to have a great personality, even before they speak. Schools. Students who perform well in one subject are often assumed to be smart in other subjects, even when that's not the case. Customer service. A smiling, friendly employee may seem more capable and helpful, even if their actual performance is average. The halo effect is subtle but incredibly persuasive. It can cause us to overlook flaws, ignore red flags, or overvalue someone's abilities. The flip side, the horns effect. Just as the halo effect makes us see people more positively based on one trait, the horns effect, also known as the devil effect, does the opposite. If someone makes a bad first impression, we might assume they're incompetent, rude, or untrustworthy, even if it's not true. For example, a candidate who shows up late might be seen as lazy, even if they had a legitimate reason. A person with a visible tattoo might be unfairly judged as rebellious or irresponsible. This shows how powerful and unfair our first impressions can be. Why does the halo effect happen? Our brains are wired to make quick decisions to save time and mental energy. These shortcuts, or heuristics, help us navigate the world efficiently, but sometimes they backfire. Here are a few reasons why the halo effect is so common. Mental efficiency. It's easier to assume someone is good across the board than to evaluate each trait individually. Social conditioning. We're often taught that beauty, charisma, or success equals goodness. Pattern seeking. Our brains love patterns even if they're based on false assumptions. Emotional influence. If someone makes us feel good, we naturally want to trust them more. How it affects your daily life. The halo effect doesn't just affect your opinions, it influences major decisions. Hiring and promotions. Great first impressions can lead to biased hiring decisions. Politics. Voters may prefer candidates based on appearance or charm rather than policy. Education. Teachers might grade more leniently based on personal bias. Marketing. Brands use celebrity endorsements to create positive associations, even if the product is unrelated. It shapes your social life, your finances, your career choices, and your trust in others. How to spot and resist the halo effect. The first step to overcoming any bias is awareness. Here are a few practical tips. Pause before you judge. When meeting someone new, hold off on forming an overall opinion. Focus on facts, not feelings. Separate traits. Ask yourself, is this person good at X, or am I just assuming because they're good at Y? Check for consistency. Look at behavior over time. A good first impression can fade if the person doesn't live up to it. Seek multiple opinions. Especially in hiring or decision-making, get input from others to balance your perspective. Reflect on your reactions. Notice when you're impressed or disappointed quickly. Ask why. The halo effect in the age of social media. Social media platforms amplify the halo effect dramatically. Influencers who are attractive, stylish, or charismatic often gain trust and followers, which translates into influence and sales. But this trust is not always earned or justified. People may buy products, take advice, or follow trends not because they're effective or true, but because they were promoted by someone who looks the part. Learning to question and think critically about these impressions is more important than ever. Final thoughts. First impressions aren't always right. The halo effect is a natural part of how our minds work, but it can lead us astray if we're not careful. It causes us to give too much credit to some and too little to others, based on shallow or unrelated traits. By becoming aware of this bias and intentionally challenging your first impressions, you can make smarter, fairer decisions in every area of life, from friendships and careers to politics and beyond. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, they just seem like a good person, pause. Ask yourself, are they really? Or is it just the halo talking?